In my job, you can imagine, I spend a lot of time talking to dedicated professionals working at frontline services. And if you talk to those with first-hand experience of drug treatment, they will tell you that the individual experiencing problems with a single substance is fast becoming the exception rather than the rule. Europe's drug problem increasingly stems from the combined use of different psychoactive substances, both licit and illicit. This reality not only leads to more negative outcomes, but also challenges services as they have to respond to a more complex set of needs. Moreover, our policy perspectives need to reflect that the combined use of drugs with alcohol has become a key feature of the problem we now face. We see this in our data on young people, where binge drinking and drug taking often go hand in hand. And we also see this among chronic addicts, where alcohol codependency is commonplace. Shifting from a single to a multiple substance use perspective is not easy, but I think that this is now called for across all aspects of the drugs problem. We need a more holistic approach people engage in, but also the fact that drugs can be competing commodities that are unlikely to be addressed effectively on an individual basis. Let me illustrate this point by looking at changes and innovations we have recently been seeing in the synthetic drug market. Many of these changes appear to have been driven by the availability of precursor chemicals or by attempts to circumvent existing drug control mechanisms. One example here is methamphetamine. Although this drug is a growing problem at global level, it has yet to make significant inroads into the stimulant markets in Europe. However, we have seen some worrying developments suggesting that methamphetamines could be becoming more available in parts of Northern Europe, where amphetamine has traditionally been the stimulant drug of choice. The considerable potential for methamphetamine to spread rapidly can be seen in Slovakia and some of the neighboring countries to the European Union, where methamphetamine use and related problems have grown substantially. Given the relative ease with which methamphetamine can be produced and its association with severe health problems, there is a clear need for monitoring future development in this area carefully. Another example of how the market can respond to changing circumstances can be seen in the composition of ecstasy tablets in some countries, where recent monitoring data suggest that MDMA, which for a long time was synonymous to ecstasy, that MDMA has been replaced by MCPP, a substance that is now not uniformly controlled across Europe. Whether this development is a temporary aberration or reflects a more structural change is yet unclear, but again, a question we have to follow closely. Finally, perhaps the most challenging development from a drug control perspective is what is euphemistically called the legal highs market, where suppliers circumvent drug controls by offering unregulated substitutes. This practice in itself is not new, but what's new is the wide range of substances now on offer, the growing use of the internet, the aggressive and sophisticated marketing of products, in some cases intentionally mislabeled, and the very speed at which the market reacts to control measures. We are releasing with this year's annual report a case study of the Spice product, which has been found to contain synthetic cannabinoids, at least in some batches. This is the first time we have seen this type of drug detected by the European Early Warning System, which we are running together with Europol, and it marks the latest stage in the development of designer drugs. We see Spice as an example of the global nature of the drugs problem, with a product that may be designed and marketed in Europe, but produced in Asia. We see a product that is targeted at a potentially large group of consumers, the ones interested in cannabis. And we see a product which is sophisticatedly branded with attractive names and packaging. If Spice is a taste of the things to come, both our monitoring systems and our drug control mechanisms will have to evolve in order to meet the new challenges that this kind of market innovations is presenting to us. Ladies and gentlemen, in these reports as in all our previous reports, our mission is the same: to bring you an accurate and comprehensive review of what is known about the drugs problem in Europe and of the measures being taken to tackle it. We are committed to being both impartial and scientifically rigorous, and it is not always an easy task in such an emotive field. Nonetheless, the value of our work comes from its independence, and I hope that when you look at our report this year, it will provide you with insight into the complex nature of the drugs problem we now face. And I strongly believe that it is through this kind of understanding that we provide not only the basis for a more rational and informed policy debate, but ultimately also for better targeted and more effective actions. I thank you very much for your attention, and I'm later then interested in replying to all the questions you might have. And it's not just me, it's also my two colleagues, which were already announced, sitting here in the front row, Paul Griffiths and Roland Simon. Thanks very much.